All right, y'all, welcome back to Keepin in Comics. So listen, Peter Parker, the Spider-Man, finally gets some new powers after all these other Spider-Men have been getting some upgrades here. Peter Parker finally gets one, and they're cool as heck, but here's the thing. It has some brutal consequences, man. So this is the start here of a new series in The Amazing Spider-Man, which has a new writer now, Joe Kelly. And this series is about Doom and Spidey and what is called the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. So where this picks up here is that after Spider-Man had just saved a civilian and gone up against some villain who called himself Burnout, Dr. Doom shows up. Now, just for some quick catch up here, some context. Now, during the Marvel Blood Hunt series here, Doom had tricked Doctor Strange into giving him the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme. Now, Strange wanted Dr. Doom to help here with bringing back the sun after it had been covered up here by the Dark Force by Varney, the first vampire, who was using Blade's body. The deal was that he was supposed to give back the mantle after he had brought back the sun and removed the Dark Force here. But everybody and their mama knew that Doom was not going to do that. So he kept the mantle, and from my recollection, we have only seen him once, which was when he showed up to the Avengers, questioning them about why they're such terrible heroes and have not established their dominance here on Earth. So now this is the second time that he showed up since then, and right here he appears to Spider-Man as the Sorcerer Supreme. And he lets Spider-Man know that he has chosen him for a matter of importance, something that Spider-Man is uniquely suited for. So naturally, Spider-Man says no, because listen, no one trusts Doom, right? Even when they need Doom, which is often, they still do not trust Doom. So Spider-Man even calls him, which is messed up here, a Timu Doctor Strange knockoff, which is hella disrespectful, but funny as heck, which of course pisses off Doom, but then he just disappears. To which Spider-Man and myself is like, this is shocking, right? But before he left, he says to Spider-Man, then the covenant shall be broken. So Spidey is left to think, like, yo, what covenant is this dude talking about? So later on, we see him doing some training with Spider-Boy. And while in the middle of training, they both hear a loud boom. So Spidey tells Spider-Boy, he's like, yo, this is a level 8 on the spider scale, so I'm gonna have to handle this one alone. Now, when we get there, we see this person, this creature, and he says, by the will of my father, the immovable, the unstoppable, I declare this contest begun, and how Centros will not be denied. And around him, you can see these like different objects that are floating in suspense in this yellow looking wave. So then he whacks the ground, causing some rubble to fly up. And then once again, we see that yellow looking wave again. So he says, where is Earth champion? Like he's calling out, like, where is Earth's champion? And right on cue, Spider-Man ends up webbing him in the face and then follows up with a kick to the dome, which causing Spider-Man a little bit of pain because he's like, ow. And this is when we find out that his body, well, at least his face, has some kind of armor on it. Then the red guy says, begone, fleck of spittle, matters that shake the heavens are beyond you. The covenant is begun. Earth's champion will face me, or... Now, Spider-Man realizes that what this guy's abilities are right now. He starts talking about a wave of power and how it seems like he's manipulating gravity. But then Spider-Man realizes that dude just also said the word covenant, the same thing that Doom had said earlier. So Red Dude continues to use his gravity powers. Spider-Man mentions how he is moving in concentric circles. He gets hit by one of the waves, which then lands him up against the wall. So then Doom pops up and he's going to finally make sense of this whole thing. Like, what is Centros talking about here? What is this covenant? But first he says to Spidey, this is the task that you were gifted. And then he continues to say, any who perish fall victim to your negligence, meaning Spider-Man's negligence. Accept my task and receive my aid. So then Spider-Man in a panic is like, yes, I accept. So Doom is like, of course you do, because Doom wills it. And next, pay attention. So here is where he explains what is happening here. Now he begins to say here, he's like, from the Darkhold Chronicles, Age of Strange, the young Sorcerer Supreme explored the lengths and depths of his magnificence. And while their potential inspired awe, he quickly discovered the limits of his human power. And in order to guard the Earth and its environs from the countless threats of the immaterial cosmos, he would require aid. Bargains would be struck. Doom would never have required such unreliable and inefficient systems, but we play the hands that we are dealt. And he says, while studying the eldritch histories of the Darkhold, Strange discovered the unassailable crimson casket of Sidorak. Now, Sidorak here, who's also known as a destroyer, he's Lord of the Oblivion here, and he's the master of the Raging Storm. Now, he's an incredibly powerful extra-dimensional being. Now, after he was worshipped as a god and as a demon here, he was later on then banished to his home dimension. And to continue like his power and his dominance here, he would select an avatar and enhance them, one of which we know is the unstoppable Juggernaut. So then Doom continues, he's like, ample protection for Earth for this dimension. However, the Crimson God Sidorak is generally immovable in body and mind, as is well known. Strange, nothing if not clever, entered into a parlay with the god in order to sway him toward a pact. Eventually, a covenant was forged, but Strange quickly learned that cleverness and intelligence are not the same. So in exchange for erecting the casket and protecting Earthrealm, Strange had to commit to besting the 8 scions of Sidorak, the restless, spoiled, terrible godlings eager to prove themselves worthy of their father's throne. So Strange thought it a fair bargain because he believed he found a loophole in their cosmic contract. There was one rivalry that precedes the all-birth, Sidorak and Ragador. Now, I won't get too much into Ragador here, but what's important is that Strange armed himself with the sacred reeds of Ragador, which all but assured that should he fall at the hands of the Crimson Scions, he would be reborn and thusly never lose. And then he continues to mention that the Covenant demands that at the top of the Crimson calendar, Earth put forward a champion to battle the Scions for Sidorak's amusement. The contests were taxing to say the least. And now Strange, ever the martyr, chose to face the Scions himself. His inefficiencies also know no bounds, as Doom says. Yet he prevailed. Every time the Covenant was invoked, Strange answered and paid the mighty toll to maintain the casket every single time. There is little I admire about Strange, he says, but his tenacity cannot go unrecognized. But my time is far more valuable, which is the reason why Doom is like, I'm not doing this thing. Thus, the need has arisen for a different champion, someone clever and tenacious who was willing to put the needs of others above their own, someone familiar with pain. And we know that Spider-Man Peter Parker, this dude knows way too much about pain. So now for Spider-Man, Doom has given him the mantle as the new champion in the Covenant of Sidorak. So now Spidey, he has to face all the Scions, but he also has some new trinkets at his disposal as well. Doom gives him the arcane armor, which now gives Spider-Man the access to the mystic arts and of course the physical protection as well. He also now has, just like Strange did, the 8 lives, the reeds of Ragador. Now Spidey's first move here is the wicked webs of Wungador, which I gotta be honest with you here. Shout out to Cinchos for calling this out here because he was thinking the exact same thing that I was thinking. He's like, yo, we usually do not call out our spells. So, and then Cinchos goes on to explain, he's like, how he is the first of the Scions of Sidorak here, imbued with undeniable and inevitable attraction. He is the will that shapes the dance of planets, stars, and galaxies. And he continues to talk while Spidey recognizes a weakness that he has. the source of his power, a black heart hole. Now, because of his suit, he was able to see what he could use to counter this. He tells us that the name of this here is Luminescence of Limitless Langolin. I hope I said that right. My bad, y'all, if I didn't. Which he says can fill the black hole, overload it, and destroy it as well. Now, Spidey's all cocky about this, right? He's like, I normally wouldn't be so cavalier about this, but I know that the reeds will protect me, talking about the reeds of Ragadoc here. And Doom didn't lie about that, and he was like, hey, I win. But then ish gets real, because next we see cause of death. Scientific term, spaghettification, a term that, of course, that we've heard here in the MCU. So now hearing it in the comics is actually kind of cool. Now, this is not Spidey talking right now. It's another voice, and he explains how it's one of the most excruciating deaths in the universe. A body being stretched and compressed as it's pulled into the gravity well of a black hole. He continues to explain that the time between the first rending of the toe flesh and the last compression of the scalp, atoms only takes picoseconds, but for the deceased, the process feels like it takes about 96 hours. And listen, this thing sounds absolutely terrible, just like how it looks when you're going through this page. Now, something else interesting happens here. The person that was processing his death was Phil Coulson, who, if you've not been following the most recent Infinity Watch story, it's a good read, but it's not like a major important story. But in that one, Phil Coulson has now become the new embodiment of death and is supposed to guide folks here to the afterlife. Now, Phil was all shocked to see that it was Spider-Man, but before he could get any too acquainted with him, Phil realizes that Spidey has the reeds, referring, of course, again to the reeds of Ragadoc. And this was kind of funny here because Reed is like, I'm so sorry, stay strong, because he knows that this is going to happen again and again and again. So then later on, we see Spidey being put back together. He is reliving his birth all over again. He states how it hurts so much to even think about it. His body is torn and broken, rent at an atomic level. The reeds reverse the natural order and forces the atoms back to reform his muscles, reknit his souls. Here he learns that nothing in magic comes without a cost, which is, I thought it was something that he already knew already. The cost of defying the very foundation of a mortal existence, which is pain, inconceivable pain. The only thing that Spider-Man can say in this moment, and I feel so bad for him, is God. He's like, oh my God, help me, help. And then a voice says to him here, he's like, I've never been accused of having a good bedside manner. And then he says, do people want the good news or the bad news first? So then Spidey, he lets us know. He's like, Doctor Strange? Well, good, please, good. And then we see Doctor Strange here in his astral form. And then Doctor Strange tells him, he's like, you're alive and in perfect health. Bad news is you have to fight and defeat the rest of the Scions of SPIDERMAN, likely dying in the process, rebirthing 7 more times. If you don't, the earth falls. So I gotta be honest with you, I like this issue and I like the different direction that they're going with. I think a lot of people didn't like the Zeb Wells version here of Amazing Spider-Man. I don't love the fact that Spider-Man has to go through pain over and over again. I feel like he's gone through enough pain, but it's kind of a cool story here with Sidorak and the Reeds of Ragadoc, Doom. It's very interesting, and I'm all kind of for Doom events here. I just hope that this continues to get better and that it doesn't, kind of fall off a cliff here. What did you think about this particular issue? Leave it down below here in the comments. Like for the YouTube algorithm here. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Check out our other videos that are here on the channel as well. Check out our links that are down below in the description so you can follow us on social media, Twitter, Discord, all the areas where you would like to follow us, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. And until next time, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye.